For more on the controversy surrounding Charlie Hebdo, CNN Religion Editor Daniel Burke joins us via Skype, and thanks for doing so. And let's clear up exactly what it is that is offensive about portraying the Prophet Mohammed. It's not because he's seen as some god, it's quite the opposite, isn't it?
That's exactly right, Michael. What we're talking about here is really something that gets to the very roots of Islam. This is a religion that was founded at a time when there were many gods. Every household basically had a god. And for Muhammad, who taught that there was only one God, he wanted all of the focus really to be on that one God. So he told his followers, as this movement grew up around him, he told his followers, listen, don't make any depictions of being, I want all of the focus to be on God. I've seen what happens with other religions when they start to revere their messengers, when they start to revere their founders. So let's make sure that we keep all of the focus on God and have no images of me out there. Now, having said that, there have been times throughout Islamic history in Iran and Turkey when people have depicted the Prophet. But in more recent years, particularly in Arab countries, particularly within Sunni countries, it's considered a big no-no.
Yeah, talk more about that. I was just going to ask you, in Muslim art, how has Muhammad been depicted in the past and in the present?
Right. Well, the answer to that is very carefully. In paintings, you'll see that his face is covered often with a veil. In a recent, very popular movie called The Messenger, he was shown only as a shadow. The idea here is that you don't want people to identify with the Prophet. He's considered just a man, but also not like somebody else, not like your neighbor. And so they've really tried to depict him very, very carefully, very respectfully, and within certain strains of Islam, violent strains of Islam, any depiction is considered an insult, is considered blasphemy. And so you see groups like ISIS, groups like Al-Qaeda, groups like the Taliban attacking people who depict the Prophet. But to be clear, most Muslims, they don't feel this way at all. Yeah. They would look at it, but they would not necessarily be completely offended.
So in many ways, do you think that it is misunderstood by some Muslims? Is it not? It's not core doctrine. It's not an absolute. It's not haram in terms of Muslim teaching, the actual core of the religion. It's just something that Muhammad said. Let's just be careful. Let's stay away from this. But is it a law of the religion?
That's a great point, Michael. I talked to many Islamic scholars about that today, and it's considered what's called a minor hadith, which means that there's not a very strong tradition. The hadith are the teachings about the Prophet and his early companions. And I was asking about what are the kind of teachings regarding this? What are the penalties regarding this? And they said, you know what? There aren't that many. It's not that big a deal. It's only within the last 20 or 30 years that you've seen it become such a huge, violent political problem. So it doesn't go to the foundations of the faith in that way. In other ways, it does. So it's a really complex issue.